Everybody, welcome to On Grade. This is Brandon Wineline. I'm in studio with my co-host Devon Boudreau.
What's going on, guys?
And we got a special guest tonight. We have the one and only Christian Birker from Toronto, Canada, in the studio via virtual means. What's going on, Christian?
Same old, same old. Just trying to live the dream like everybody else.
Are you right in Toronto or you're outside Toronto?
I'm outside Toronto.
Nice.
Half an hour, I would say.
Good times.
So
it's like the Dallas of Canada, basically. Not as cool, but size-wise, city-wise,
yeah,
shit show-wise.
Yes, I would say. Lots of stuff in the ground to dig around, I would say.
Yeah. So where are you from? You're from there exactly? Born and raised?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Stouffville, small town at the time of growing up. I was just one of those kids that wasn't really into school and all the rest of the things that society wanted me to do. And I liked making money and was always working, and grew from that and went to work in construction because that's what you do. And you don't get an education, or that's what you're told in school, that if you don't get an education, you're going to end up digging ditches for your life. So I ended up doing that. And yeah, it's been a ride for me. And I, spent many years working for other contractors and in other small outfits, big outfits in the area, and gained knowledge in the trade, and gained the network, which is super key in running a company, is your network. And just moved on from there and started CMB in 2019. Kind of one of those things. It was wasn't planned, wasn't it didn't have this massive business plan like everybody thinks you're supposed to have. It was my buddy made some business cards for shits and gigs. We wanted to do the side thing on the weekend. I was working as a union operator at the time. And I probably handed my business card out to the wrong person, and they hired us to do the job. And here we are today. I took the opportunity probably a little bit sooner than I should have, with no pre-planning or nothing. And yeah, I made it work, I think, some days. I mean, don't we all? Don't you guys think to yourself some days, am I making this work?
More like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
What'd you start with? Were you just renting gear off the hop or what?
Yeah, we started with I rented gear off the hop, right off the hop. I bought my first machine probably in the first year. Obviously, my business partner, he was the one that made the business card, so we both quit our jobs the day when we first started. So we definitely had the benefit of the doubt on that aspect of having two people is good and bad, I would say, in some aspects, right, in a business. And we just started renting. I think people think you always have to buy it. Like you guys talked in your previous podcast, you're like, people think you have to buy, right? And you can rent, you don't make top dollar, but you're making something and you're building that resume, right?
Well, way less risk too, right off the hop.
Yeah, I think it's everybody has this perception that I need to go buy a 2-ton or a 5-ton mini just to get started. Like you can go to Sunbelt Rentals or any rental shop and rent a mini for $500 a day if you really want to. They drop it off, that like you've talked about, right? So that's what we started doing, and you have to get your name out there. You have to build a resume. It's like when you're hiring an employee, you're not gonna hire somebody with, well, you are gonna hire somebody with no experience, but you have to have, as a company owner or as a company, you have to have somewhat of credentials, right? You can't just go, well, I do this.
You got to be able to do what you're trying to sell. Otherwise, you're just going to shoot yourself in the foot.
So, yeah, that's the way that we went. And then I probably rented too long, to be honest with you. I probably pussyfooted around buying compared to renting. I would say that was our mistake in business at one aspect, was we could have bought sooner. Yes, it maybe not have been the right decision at that moment, but moving forward, thinking now, I think that would have been the right decision now, thinking back.
I don't know about
you know what I mean.
I know for me, it was like, I definitely thought it wasn't even possible to buy a machine. That was a thing in the beginning. It's like, oh, who am I, right? Like, you're a couple months into business, who's going to sell you a piece of equipment, you know? And that was the biggest, I think, misconception, I guess, in the beginning was I thought that you wouldn't be able to get a machine, wouldn't be able to buy one or whatever. So we rented for a while thinking that, until we kind of asked the question, like, oh yeah, no, you can totally buy something. It's like, what? Oh, okay.
It's easier to buy a machine than a pickup truck.
It is.
Like, go to the dealer and buy a pickup truck. They want your firstborn, your left arm, like, you go buy a machine and they're like, yeah, sure, no problem,
Yeah.
It's definitely different.
Well, the other thing too is they want to look at like what's your what do you got coming down the pipe as far as work? They want to see a WIP report. They want to see financials. They want to see what's your backlog looking like. I can tell you right now, if you got over $1 million backlog at any point in time, dude, you can pretty much walk down a cat dealer and get anything, pretty much almost anything you want, minus like mine equipment, of course. But you definitely get like a 6 or a 349, no problem. But it all depends on what you're looking at too. I mean, especially the smaller gear, it's real, like you guys are saying, the smaller tractors are real easy to get. And so, so Christian, what we sent you out the questionnaire a few days ago, and you put on here something that we haven't really talked about much on the show. But I will say, guys over at Dirty and Driven mentioned it on an episode. They were talking about mental health, and you wanted to talk about mental health within companies for employees and for their staff. So what's something you wanted to talk about with CMB, maybe with that?
I mean, I think we all suffer from it, I think, on some manner. As an owner, you definitely have your struggles of managing the people, managing your cash flow, managing your home life. There's so many aspects to running a company that definitely there's mental health involved, and your employees, more importantly, if they're having a tough time at home and they're having issues with their family, their significant other, whatever that might be, that will affect their life, and ultimately that can cause an accident at work, for your other workers that are in the trench, and your operator's having issues in his outside life and he's dealing with stuff, and you don't know about it. That's a safety hazard ultimately for your whole company. And I think it's one of those things that we all kind of just brush off, and we're like,
suck it up, buttercup.
And yeah, for sure. We all, I mean, I'm bad for it. I think we all can sit here and say, like, construction definitely brings out that, like, macho, be tough, be that, don't bring your feelings to work, like we all say when, we're having a tough day. And I think it's looked past. I think it's something that as owners, we have to think about, like, shit, that guy could kill somebody in the trench, dropping a manhole in because his mind isn't there. His
Not
mind
paying
is
attention.
Yeah, we're all bad for it. You can't tell me that you're on the phone during the day and you're doing this, you're doing that, and you forget about something or you make a mistake, or we're only human, right? We're all human. So
it's definitely a huge thing, and I'm seeing it right now. I have a couple guys going through some shit, and you can tell when they're having a good day at home and a bad day at home because they show up to work and it's two different people, right? And that's it's a hard one to deal with, because at the end of the day, I think for us, you're probably the same way. It's like, we're used to running things, like we're running the company, we're running the job, we're running the crew. We're used to making decisions and things are happening, and we're kind of in control of everything going on. Even though we're completely out of control, we think we're in control of everything that's going on. And you have your guys, and you can, in a sense, control your guys at work, but you can't control their home life. You can't go to one of your guys' house and talk to his old lady and give her shit. It doesn't work that way. So it's kind of hard, I think, as an owner to see that happening. And then what do you do? Like, how do you really deal with that? That's something I've definitely been thinking about that lately too, is like, how do you fix these problems? But I don't know, I guess talking about it is really the first step of it, getting guys to open up and kind of not being a dick.
Yeah, I think there's that fine line that you have to walk, and you have to read your guys. You have to read their personalities, and that's part of being the owner. And the tough part about managing the people is you have to know how to work your guys and understand that they all tick at a different, their clock is all different. They all tick different. You know, one guy that takes that constructive criticism, the other guy might not take it the same way that, you know, you're putting it down. So I think understanding how everybody ticks is a huge thing within your company, or just being open with about it and saying, like, look, if you're having a tough day and you're not comfortable in that piece of equipment, or you're not comfortable being here, or whatever that case may be, like, go home, sit at home, or we'll send you somewhere, or whatever, you know, we'll work with you on this to, you know, fix this matter, instead of like, shut up, get to work, you know, how probably I was brought up and a lot of us were brought up. That's the truth of the matter, right?
Yeah.
So our generation and workforce is changing. You know, feelings are brought to work. Back in the 80s and 90s and probably 2000s, like, you didn't bring your feelings to work. Like, you were a man, like, I don't know, you drank 12 beers a night and that was it. Like, you went and laid pipe. Like, construction was the manly man job, and like, it's not like that anymore, and that's okay, but we have to adjust to that as the employer.
I think the other thing too that's changed the game a lot that a lot of people aren't looking at now is there's so many outside forces that you deal with now versus the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Like, you know, all of us sitting here came up in. I think for us is when I first started running equipment, I didn't have a cell phone.
True.
There was no way my foreman could call me out on a job site and scream at me. He had to pull up purposely in his truck and have to talk to me. And people didn't just come at you like that, because also you're standing face to face with them. So it's a little different. You weren't, it was still tough love, but it wasn't, I think you know what I'm saying. It wasn't like in your freaking face back then either. And I think another thing too that helped us back then too was it was the way we were brought up. You know, we were outside more. You know, we rode bikes. We got in fights growing up. You know, it's I don't know. It's just like it's a different world now. You know, it's so based around technology and playing video games. And, you know, we watched a movie, me and Steph, the other night. It was, the kid talked about, I have no friends in real life, but I have a ton of friends that I play with online. I mean, it's crazy, you know, that you don't even have real physical friends. They're all over the world, which is awesome too. But at the same time, I think that might be contributing to a lot to the mental health thing now. Because,
yeah, that's true. Well, you got an older crew and you got a younger crew, right?
Yeah, I got both.
Do you see a difference like in the crew, like because you run young guys, Christian, so do I, for the most part. Like, do you see a difference between the crews on like that kind of stuff? Or
I see it to a point. Some of my guys are like, they've been around the young guys now so much, the culture of them, that they're kind of just used to them. So they don't really say much about it anymore. But about 4 or 5 years ago, oh yeah, the old timers, oh man, they were. They tell you, get this kid off the job or I'm gonna beat his ass. I mean, it was like that back in the day. But another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and Dev, I didn't talk about it before we started the show. Shout out to Philip Reed. He's with Blue Collar Lending. The guy I follow on LinkedIn, and he actually wrote a post. I'm going to read it if you guys don't mind. I think you guys will really appreciate this. If you're a person that craves affirmation in the workplace, entrepreneurship might not be for you. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode, but I'd like to take a minute of your time to talk to you about today's sponsor. Are you a GIS professional, land surveyor, or construction professional looking for the best in surveying equipment, software, and service? Look no further than AGS Inc. AGS Inc. is an authorized dealer for Topcon and Sokia surveying equipment dealer and EOS aerial mapping products dealer. With a supply store in Grapevine, Texas to serve the DFW Metroplex, Central Texas presence, and a corporate headquarters in Houston, Texas, AGS has you covered. Stop by and experience the AGS Inc. difference today. At AGS, it is a service after the sale that counts. AGS is the proud sponsor of the On Grade podcast. On Grade podcast listeners, give these guys a call if you want to talk about bringing precision surveying, layout, drones GPS, GIS, or 3D scanning spatial technologies to your company. Thank you, and have a great evening. Back to the episode. I get it. We are all wired differently, and some of us can cognitively need those attaboys. We entrepreneurs don't get those, sometimes ever. The weight of our entire organization is on our shoulders, and staff beneath us rarely share affirmation of our leadership and prowess. They expect it, and they should. Otherwise, they wouldn't have trusted us with their employment. Backpats, trophies, and accolades doesn't matter to us. We care about our people, trajectory, hard numbers that show growth and profit in business. If someone compliments us when it's not merited, it doesn't even matter to us because it's not factual. Our confidence and drive did not come from external validation. It comes from within. And if you're not ready for that, it will crush you. I do not kid when I say business ownership is a very lonely profession. I have my partners, sure, but that's about it. When it comes to professional peers within my organization, when I go to work parties, I can't just let loose. I have to watch every single thing I say. I cannot act frivolously. And I do not receive praise from the staff I lead. But I'm okay with that. Not everyone is. Before you make that leap, make sure that the loneliness of self-employment and high-level leadership is something you can handle. That's something that we kind of talk about in a roundabout way all the time. But I saw that post today, and I saw your email, and I'm like, oh, I saw a post about this today. I'm like, we should talk about this because, and especially a shout out to Philip Reed. Great dude. He's down in San Antonio. I don't know if he listens to the show or not, but if he does, Phil, hit me up anytime, man. We'd love to have you on. He does blue collar lending. He specializes in helping construction companies with financial stuff, like lines of credit, stuff like that. So definitely give him a shout. Great dude. You can find him on LinkedIn, but he has awesome posts all the time. So, but that's the things he just talked about, guys. I can tell you all this right now. I mean, you and me, we call each other 2 to 3 times a week just to talk because and I got Steph to talk to, and me and her had a conversation. I didn't even realize I was doing this, but like if I talk to a guy that's inside our world that does what we do as owners, I'll talk to you all day about what's going on in my life outside of my personal life. I'll tell you, be like, man, this fucking GC, this guy right here, this fucking bullshit with my tractor today, something that happened on a job site or whatever, and she'll go, well, why don't you tell me this stuff? And it's like, because I don't even realize, I think I psychologically just want to shut it off when I get home from work.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, I don't want to talk to my old lady about that stuff because it's just like, to me, that's like, I feel the pressure of that stuff on my shoulders. I know how much waiting to get paid for a job is, or the guy smashed something at work, and I'm thinking about the numbers and the cost, and it's a stress, right? That's a shit ton of stress that I'm carrying. I don't want to talk to my old lady about that and dump that on her, because to me, I look at it as like, she doesn't need to deal with that. She doesn't need to carry that. She doesn't need to know about that stuff, is kind of how I look at it. I don't know. Do you talk to your old lady about stuff?
I like Sunday's a tough day, I think, in construction as an owner, right? Like Sunday evening, you get the Sunday scaries. You're like, oh my God, I got another week of tear to, navigate through. It's tough not to bring it home. And I think that, a lot of people bring their work problems home. Even employees themselves bring their work problems home. If they're having a shitty day at home, they probably bring it home, right? So it's tough to navigate that with your home life and turn it off. If you're having struggles at work, you get home and you're pissed off and you probably say something you shouldn't or do something you shouldn't or whatever. I think we're all guilty of it, right? So yeah, I think talking about it is good.
Yeah, I personally think that you're supposed to be able to communicate with your spouse about anything. In theory, you really are. You're supposed to be able to talk to them. They're supposed to be with you through the thick and thin. I mean, that's what the vows are all about. And if you truly love that person, I think you should tell them, because I look at it like this. Me and her, we're going to get married. We're going to have kids, and maybe my kids might want to take this company from me one day. It's a family business at that point. She is entitled to know what's going on. If our child is going to take that company over, then she should be entitled to know what's going on. She should be entitled to know what we have to deal with. And I also think that you telling your spouse what's going on that day that you're having that real shitty day, you might come home and they might not get on you about you didn't take the trash out, or you left your muddy boots on the floor or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, you might get a little more sympathy on that one. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those like, yeah, well, yeah. I'm getting better about it, but she got on me about it for months. She's like, you know, you come home and you're pissed as hell, and I don't know what I did wrong. And it's like, yeah, you didn't do anything. It's just everybody else in the world. Just want to crush some people's souls.
Speaking of crushing souls, you guys will like this. So this morning I get up, jump in the Pete after I had this paperwork to do, and I'm like, I don't want to drive across Dallas in rush hour in the truck, so I'll just wait till about 9:30 in the morning. So I wait, get some paperwork done, jump in the Peterbilt. They got the hoe on the float, the flat deck on. I'm going to get some shoring boxes. Got to drive all the way across Dallas, load the shoring boxes, then go all the way across the city again to go out to Terrell, drop everything off. I'm going down the interstate, cruising along, having a great day. It's sun shining, the truck's clean. I even freaking armor all the tires last night and everything. It was a good day. Cruising along, 75 miles an hour. Some retard in a Toyota Prius, a red Toyota Prius, is coming in the merge lane, like coming onto the interstate. And for some reason, just assumes that I must have a yield sign in the middle of the interstate and just merges right in front of me doing like 40. I'm on the brakes. There's two trucks next to me trying to swerve around this friggin' car. So friggin' close that I couldn't even see it anymore. It disappeared in front of the hood. I thought I ran the thing over. And then it just putts along as if it wasn't even doing nothing. And it's at that moment where I'm literally going in my head, do I just run this motherfucker over and slam him into the medium because he's that stunned he shouldn't be on this planet anymore? It's just like, fucking retarded. Had to be a Prius too. Just had to be a Prius. Skid marks up the highway, like just fuck.
Did it have a Joe Biden sticker on it?
No, it didn't. It had one of those Beto fucking stickers. So
just as bad. Have you seen that meme yet with the one with the guy holding the trash can? He's hitting the other guy, and it says Beto in Texas, and it was like the one guy's Texas. He's throwing the trash can. The guy's on the ground. And it's Beto. It was right after the last election when he ran for governor. That shit was hilarious, dude. He's like throwing a trash can, nailing Beto, and it's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I don't know. People are just stunned. But...
Let me get off the politics. That's the role we have. God, we gotta be better than this.
Oh well. So let's go back to some work stuff, I guess.
I like this one. You're probably gonna like this one too. Working in or on the business, what suits you best? So I want to say my piece. I'm going to hand it over to Devon after I say my piece. Guys that have to be completely 100% involved in a business at all times. Those are the guys that A, can never take a vacation. B, they have to work 16 freaking hours a day because they don't trust anybody. And C, they're probably the same guy that's trying to do an estimate while sitting in the truck while also jumping out and running an excavator loading trucks. We all know that guy. And that guy is burned out in 2 years. And he's going, dude, I didn't bid any work this week just so I can have a day off. It's like, dude, get some help, man. You know, you gotta, as you say, my boy Devon here says it best. You gotta burn the boats, man. Just go for it. You gotta hire some people. You gotta give them a chance. If you don't give them a chance, you're never gonna get a chance to give yourself a dang break, and you're gonna burn yourself out. So I'll let you take it from me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bad for that. I still wear 10 hats most days. I'll be doing the estimating and billing, and then finishing from that, driving a truck and going around a piece of equipment and all that stuff. I'm still kind of in that transition phase where I'm learning to let go. I've got guys now that are fully capable of running jobs. I don't need to be there and babysit them. I can jump in, show up for an hour, talk to the client, see what's going on, make a couple adjustments, and then leave. And they're good to go, kind of thing. So that's been huge. But yeah, as far as the office stuff, I'm still trying to do everything at once while trying to do all the other little stuff too, to kind of make it all work. But you're right. You can't do it forever. It's not sustainable. I mean, I shouldn't say it's not sustainable. There's guys that do it, but you're not really building a business at that point. You're just creating a massive job for yourself that makes money and buys cool toys. But at the end of the day, you're just going to be stuck doing that forever. The minute you stop, you get sick, break a leg, whatever, you're screwed. You know, what happens at that point? How does it work? What goes on? You know, I don't know. We're all guilty of it. And everyone starts that way. It's just a matter of finding a way to get out of that. And really the answer is take the leap and hire people, you know, hire them, train them, build them up, whatever, but make that a goal to be able to get yourself out of the business in a sense, not because you have to, but because eventually you're going to need to. it's going to come to a point where you have to do something and you can't be there, and it's going to screw you over. You got a business partner, right, Christian?
I do. He runs he does all of the estimating. So
Mhm.
I work in the field 90% of the time. So I'm very fortunate. I get to be, a dirt donkey still, I would call myself. Um, so I run the machine 95% of the time. And then now after 4 years of hell, my guys are finally capable, young lads that can do the job. So it's somewhat relaxing for me. So as we move forward, I plan to somewhat step out of the field, but also manage the people.
Mm.
I'm a person that I like to be in the field. I like being in the dirt. I like putting the pipe in. That's just who I am. The office stuff isn't for me, and it's not for everybody. And I think everybody thinks like, oh, I'm the company owner, I need to work in the office, I need to be in the office. Like, I think it's good to be in the office. I think it's good to be involved in the numbers and all of that, but like, you don't have to be doing the day-to-day stuff, more or less, or try not to be. Like, you have to suit what you make money at.
Yeah.
And I we were trying to hire operators and foremans and all of that stuff. And like, yeah, you make all right, but nobody pushes like you. Nobody's gonna, drive that train like you're gonna drive the train.
Mhm.
That's the end of the day. And at the end of the day, the more holes you dig, technically speaking, the more money you should make.
Yeah.
So I think that's where people get lost. They're like, well, I'm just gonna hire people. Like, I think it's hard to just hire, because you could be getting screwed over and you don't even know it. And it could be 6 months out. I think you really have to screen your employees as you're hiring. If you are hiring a superior person, like, meet them once or twice before you hire them. Maybe meet their significant other to see how their home life is if they're superior. Maybe let them come try out for a day or two to kind of see how they mesh with the crew. Like, I think there's so many cases where people just hire, and then you're like, I have a bunch of meatballs. What do I do with them all?
Yep.
You make
And
some
I think
badass spaghetti. That's what you do.
something like that.
I tell you, I've been. Devon can attest to this. I've been the guy that's had the killer crew, the killer group of dudes in the office, and I've had the guy that I'm like, bro, I done told you 5 times send this damn change order, and then you end up doing it yourself because you don't trust them. I mean, I think we've all been there. It's an unfortunate thing. I like what you were saying, Christian, about really sitting down and talking to the guy. But, I've learned this thing over time now with employees, and I'm sure you two will attest to this. I call it the 6-month itis. Everybody puts on a real good impression for about 6 months until they kind of get comfortable. And then they kind of let you see their true colors. And if you see a guy at 6 months and he's still beating you to the office every day and he's leaving, an hour or two after you do, and I'm still there till 6 almost every day, and he's leaving at 8, putting out emails, and I'm checking my email and I'm seeing his emails going out, I'm like, that's the guy I want. That's the guy he's a go-getter. That's a killer. You want killers, man. You don't want guys that are there for a paycheck. You want a guy that wants to help build that company up, because my guys know, they already know, guys that have been with me through the thick and thin already know, as soon as the money starts coming in, the reward's there. You're going to get that raise. You're going to get that time off you want, that you're going to get the lifestyle you want, because I'm going to help you get there myself. And that's what you have to do as a leader. And that's part of being a leader, is don't be afraid to shovel tracks. I mean, I'll shovel tracks. I'll sweep the street. I'll also send the dirtiest, nastiest email you'll ever see too, though. I mean, I just told the project manager off this week. I told you about this. It's assistant project manager on a job. And the guy goes, hey, man, we need you to haul some utility spoils off. I said, well, that's not my contract. It says clearly in my contract, no other trade spoils. Here's the topo. Here's everything. Here's the drone data. We've done the work. And so this kid he's 22 years old. He's wet behind the ears. He thinks he fucking knows it all. I got my construction management degree. Look at me. I'm Mr. Badass. No offense to anybody that has a construction management degree. No disrespect, but we all know this guy. So anyways, trying to tell him, hey, this ain't my dirt. And so I'm talking to the superintendent, who's also about the same age as him, by the way. I'm not making this up. They're both like 22 years old. So, of course, this is their first time having any kind of authority probably in their life. So they think they're just going to bully me around. And mind you, my superintendent's 65. I'm 34 going on 35. And I'm like, oh, these kids really do want to fuck around and find out. So anyways, we sent a nice little email back. And in the way I sent the email back, and you know this as well as I do between the two of you, when you got the vice president of the company, he calls you the first thing in the morning, brother, what do we got to do to make this right? Oh, you need to rein your boys in. And so we go out to the job site, me and him meet up, we make a deal. Everything's handled like it should have been the first time. It shouldn't have even come to this. And he says to me, he says, you know, these young ones never gotten their asses handed to them. I says, no. I said, they never had somebody come out on a job site and just whoop that ass. I'm like, man, I'll tell you, guy wants to run his mouth on an email. Somebody come out there and start tuning his ass up. I bet they'll stop sending those kind of fucking emails. It's the truth, though. I mean, you can tell guys that growing up, they got punched in the mouth, and you can tell a guy that never got punched in the damn mouth. I mean, some of these kids, they just think they're God's greatest gift to construction, whatever. So my rant's done. My apologies.
What kind of work are you doing up in Canada, man? What are you doing? What's your niche? What's your main thing?
I mean, I do anything that pays, but I would try to stick to pipe work, infrastructure. It's hard to compete for us in the bigger dirt stuff because of like the crew that we have. They don't really enjoy that. Like either you have a pipe crew or you have a dirt crew, I kind of find.
Yeah.
The pipe guys don't like moving dirt and the dirt guys don't like pipe. So, and just, you need a lot of overhead doing big dirt. So I like the pipe. You can kind of, it's fast, nimble, and you can make good billables on it per day if you set up right and your boys are productible or they strive to do better. And it's hard to make them understand that, like, the more pipe you lay, the more money that the company makes, the more things that you guys get. It's hard for everybody to understand that sometimes, but it's pipe work is kind of one of those things that it's a niche, and that's what I kind of want to stick into. But again, everybody will do anything that pays. We try to do a little bit of dirt work. We'll do ponds and stuff sometimes, like the sediment ponds. But slopping in the mud is only fun for so long. So we do like large infiltration systems, like gas collection systems. We get into the fuse pipe. I enjoy the fuse pipe work because it's not everybody's doing it. Everybody can go lay a lot of people can lay a water main. A lot of people can lay a sewer main. But when you start getting into the fuse pipe stuff, it takes a little bit of knowledge. It takes a little bit of patience, which not everybody has. It pays a little bit better, right? So
yeah,
that's kind of what we're into.
How'd you get into it? What got you into the pipe in the first place?
I started doing pipe when I was like 18, I would say. I was kind of introduced to it. I was always around equipment since a young age, building motocross tracks with buddies, but I got into the pipe and I love the rush of it, right? It's super, like, if laying manholes and slinging pipe in, like, there's a lot of shit going on.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, there's just something about it. It gets in your blood, and it's like some guys that even show up for me now, like this one kid that showed up for me the first day, he's like, this is the fucking best, like there's machines swinging around, like gravel's dumping, right? Like it's like a battle zone in the trench, right? It's awesome if that's what you're into. So I think it's either a love or hate thing, and I spent a lot of time working for other guys, and I think that's kind of been a good thing for me in owning a company. Is like, I think it's hard to do if you've never done it before, right? There's so many little tricks and shit I would have never learned or learned harder than I already did learn,
Yeah.
on someone else's dollar,
I think the funniest thing is when you go out on your own, you already think you know the business. We all did. We're like, yeah, man, I've done this. I've been a superintendent. I've been a foreman. I've been an operator. I can do this shit. Man, I got my ass kicked first I don't know, 2 or 3 jobs, dude, I'd always miss something. They're like, oh, they call you back. Hey, did you got everything in your scope here? I really like your proposal. It looks good, and you're like, you're super pumped. You're like, yes, my first job. And they're like, we're going to send you a contract. Oh, okay. Now it's like, 4 years later, it's like, hey man, can you shave like 30% off this thing, or we talk numbers here? Nah, that's my number, bro. You don't like it? Call somebody else. And that's how I got now. But that's 4 years of getting I'm taking it off your notes, by the way. I saw you wanted to talk about losing your ass, because this is something that a lot of these guys are always asking us about, estimating how to make sure you're not losing money on jobs. Biggest thing I can tell you is read all the damn plans, dude, because it's getting like this in construction, especially in excavation. I don't know about so much for you guys in pipe, but it's getting like, you got to read the geotech report. You got to read the civil plan. You got to read the structural plans now. You got to, sometimes you got to read the architecturals now. I'm like, bro, it's dirt work. Why the fuck do I need to look at architectural plans? I mean, like, they're like, hey, did you look at the architectural plan? Page C2, it shows the foundation plan. Why didn't you put that in the fucking grading plan, dude? Like, it's like the architect don't want to talk to the engineer. The structural engineer don't want to talk to the civil engineer. It's crazy now. You got to really read everything now, or it's going to bite you in the butt, man. It's getting like that. I don't know about for y'all as much, but especially doing kind of foundation stuff like we do, and paving prep now and stuff, they're putting notes and stuff that has nothing to do with what you would think it would. I mean, it's just crazy. Or you'll read something in the geotech and they'll go, oh, we're not going to do what's in the geotech. We're going to do what's in the structural. Well, you bid the shit to do it off the geotech, and the thing they want you to do in the structural might cost twice as much. I mean, it's like, how the hell am I supposed to know this shit? I'm not a structural engineer.
What's your biggest?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Up by us, like every municipality or region or whatever you want to call it, all have different specs. So like, it is the most frustrating fucking thing ever, because you'll lay pipe one way, and then, you go to the other region or municipality or whatever, and you got to lay it a different way. It's all within reason, but they want different, stupid stuff, bedding or filter cloth or, stuff that I wish it was just standard across the board, like this is set, everybody does it, not specific regions do their own thing, right? Or municipality. It makes it tough to the guys to do and keep up with it all, oh, this tracer wire is different here. Like, just make one tracer wire, do all the fucking tracer wires, man. Like, I got fucking 20 fucking different kinds of tracer wire, right? Like, or even the caution tape they make you put on. Like, just make one, standard, make it simple for everybody. No, I got 20 rolls of different types, and it makes it confusing for everybody involved.
Yeah, well, and you can lose your ass real freaking quick if you're not careful, man. I mean, especially you sign in the contract, they're getting even slicker now with the contracts. They're putting in the contracts. You've read every single set of plans we have sent to you, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, you sent me 136 pages and you're like, oh, you should know the plans front to back. Okay. Yeah, no problem. I'm going to know the civil plans. Absolutely. I'm going to know the paving plan. I'm going to know where the pipe's going. I'm going to know all that. But now you're asking me to read architecturals. You're adding me and structural. It's like, come the fuck on, dude. Put it all in one set of fucking plans like they used to do it. I mean, I know you've been doing this long enough, and I know you've been doing this long enough. They didn't used to do that shit. It all used to be in one spot.
Well, I learned everything the hard way because I had about 4 hours of seat time in an excavator when I started a company. So that was my experience. First sewer line I ever bid was calling a buddy of mine to figure out what the hell it looked like to go do the job. So you want to talk about screw ups and learning things the hard way. I've done them. It's all self-taught. But
doing a building pad and you didn't swell the dirt for trucking.
Yeah,
I did that one time. I'm like super pumped. It's like a 10,000 square foot pad. Select starts coming in, and I got it in the packet from my foreman. Because I was the superintendent at the time and the owner, and he calls me on the phone. I just run to go get diesel for them, and he calls me. He goes, "Hey, dude, you got 40 loads on the note here." I said, "Yeah." He says, "We're at 55, and we only got half the pad done." And I'm like, "Oh fuck." And he goes, what? I'm like, I forgot to swallow that dirt. He's like, you dumb motherfucker. Like, so all the money we had to put the dirt down ended up going to just covering fucking materials. So that whole day was free. Like, I mean, we got some, we made money the next day blue topping it, but it still was like, it's still, that's a whole day of wages, of fuel, tractor time, just out the window because something stupid as that.
Well, I did the exact same thing, except it was on a house foundation, not on a 10,000 square foot building pad. So it was only an extra 30 loads to haul out, but I never made that mistake again. Why do I still have trucks here? It's supposed to only have 500 yards of dirt.
A big old pile of dirt sitting out here. I don't know how the fuck that happened.
Maybe the trucks are smaller.
You're over there screaming at the excavator operator, fucking load up. Well, I got 4 buckets on them. What else you want me to do? It's already spilling over.
I mean, I think you have to lose money. Like, that's terrible to say. Like, you have to lose money. Like, it's humbling as fuck. When you go into a job and you lose, whatever amount, whatever the percentage is, but I've hit 6 figures. You take a hit and it's like it humbles the fuck out of you, and you're like, shit, I'm not the king. I'm not the king of this fucking castle. Like, in 2 minutes this can be ripped all from me. Just a mistake, a simple miss on the spec, a simple safety incident, whatever, it can take it all away from you. And I think my growth, or my biggest growth for me, was losing money. And you have to job cost huge.
You definitely don't make that mistake again. You learn that lesson once.
Biggest mess up I ever did a job in Frisco about 3 years ago. We had never had a grade bust on a job before. I don't know if, I'll let the listeners know what a grade bust is. So a grade bust, for anybody that's wanting to learn about estimating, a grade bust happens when you take a grading plan and there's existing elevations on a grading plan and there's proposed elevations. Well, what happens is they might have went out there and topoed that job to make that grading plan 4 or 5 years ago, and people have dumped dirt on it, or the dirt has swelled from weather, or anything. So what happens is it can actually increase the quantity of whatever you're having to do. So whether that's import dirt or export dirt, whatever that could be. And if you don't catch that by doing what's called a topo, before you start the job, by going out there and shooting shots on that entire job site and creating your own grading plan to verify the quantities, you will lose your ass so quick, because it literally, in the contract, it says you are accepting the job the way it is when you pull up on site. So that is why I tell everybody, exclude rock and always do a damn topo before you start that job. Because I'll tell you something, I'll tell you, well, Deb, you know this. I send a change order for a grade bust at least once a month. Every job we'll start 5 jobs and send a change order at least once a month. Because these engineers are so lazy now, they don't go out and get new topos done anymore. They just take the one from 4 or 5 years ago when the lot was for sale, and so, they'll build a grading plan off that. And all of a sudden you go out there and you might have to export an extra 4,000 or 5,000 yards. And they're like, well, what's this for? It's for the extra dirt you got on your freaking lot, bro. And I'm not paying to haul it off. So you are, because the cost goes to you, not me. You're asking for extra work. You pay for that. That's how I look at it. So call me if I'm wrong on that, but I lost my shirt on that, man. We overhauled 10,000 yards on a job and no idea it even happened until it was too late. So I never did it again. You want to talk about that $100,000? Yeah.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Luckily we had an amazing GC that we were working for. We still work for him to this day. And this is the reason we still work for him. They called us up and they said, well, give us your takeoff and give us your tickets for what you hauled. And they at least paid for the haul, and they didn't cover us to load it, but they at least covered the trucking for us. So it didn't completely kick our ass. Still kicked our ass, but that could have put somebody, we were a brand new company. We're less than a year old. If that had to put you out of business,
Read the plans.
And that boils back to like mental health again, and like your brain at that time, I'm positive you were feeling pretty shitty. about your decisions, you know?
I was going, operating wasn't all that bad, man. Being a blazer.
Like,
The old gut check first thing in the morning.
yeah.
Hey, Dev, you hiring? I'll come.
Those kick to the kick to the nuts, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing like it.
No, it makes you feel alive.
It does.
That tingly feeling that you get in your spine, like, oh boy,
what did I do?
Why am I here? And then everybody's like seeing your nice truck and all that. You're like, oh, you're doing so well. And you're like, I don't even know how I'm making payroll Friday, bro.
I know that vibe.
Yeah.
All too well.
I think everyone does. It's just one of those things.
And the worst part is when you get in that cycle where you got to make payroll every Friday. I tell everybody the fastest day of the week to get to you is a Friday. I don't know what it is about it being a business owner, but Friday comes real quick, man. And it's always fun Thursday night, you're sitting there like, okay, payroll's 26,000. That's without tax. With tax, it's 35. How much do I got in the account? 12. You go and look on your AR report and you're like, that's almost 30. Hey, brother. Hey, I'm broke as fuck and I can't make payroll tomorrow. Do you want my guys on your job tomorrow? Yeah. Can you wire me some money? How much you need? 15 grand. Okay, I got you.
Make those calls.
I don't give a shit who you are, dude. I know guys that own multi-million-dollar excavation companies. They make that phone call on Fridays. They don't care. They're not afraid to admit it.
That's what it is, man.
I mean, anybody that goes to me and says I'm making all this kind of money in excavation, they're probably lying. It's
the guys that make money in excavation are the guys that have been doing it for 25 years and all their shit's paid off. Those are the guys that make money.
Yeah, it never leaves their pocket, right?
No, those are the guys that they can walk in and pay cash for a couple of machines, and they keep them 3 or 4 years. They get their money out of them, and they still make money on them when they sell them. So it's that's the key that everybody has to realize in this game. It's a long game. You are not going to make a lot of money your first 10 years. You're not going to make a lot. Once those tractors start getting paid off, that's when you start making the money. But that's why you got to make sure you're doing good maintenance on them, because if you don't take care of them that well, that 6-year note you got, that thing might be fucking falling apart in 6 years, and then you got nothing. You're buying another one. You're in the same boat you were just in. You're making more payments. So,
how many guys are running, Christian? Size your crew?
I run about, well, it depends on the day because I have a high turnover. But I run I like to run 10 to 15 would be my solid on a pipe crew.
Yep.
So what is that just normal up there with the turnover, or is that just kind of recent that's been happening?
I think I'm a part of the problem.
Christian's a fucking dick to work for, that's why.
What do you mean we're getting a Saturday off? Yeah. Are you fucking crazy? We gotta get this pipe in the ground, bro.
Yeah, that sounds all.
Your wife's having a baby? I don't give a fuck. Get your ass out here and help me lay this pipe.
Fuck. I hope none of my guys listen to this because they're gonna die on that.
See, what do you guys call OSHA up there in Canada? Is it the same thing?
Yeah, we got OSHA up there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or no, it's OHS.
Yeah.
OHS. Don't be listening to this one either.
Yeah.
He's probably rolling outlaw. No trench box. What the fuck you need a trench box for?
No, I've gotten better. Or that's what my seasoned guys tell me. I'm getting better.
Do you at least bench it back now?
Oh yeah. Slope her back. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we don't fuck around with that stuff.
No, I was just kidding anyways.
You watch enough videos of them doing pipe work in India and,
God.
It's 30 feet down straight wall. You don't do that
shit.
Bro, you watch some dudes in China.
Sorry, go ahead.
You watch some dudes in China and they actually built those buckets that are modified that have the fucking slopes built in them. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
They got them like in Vietnam and shit for like the trenching for their rice paddies.
Yeah.
Dude, it's fucking badass, dude. I'm like, where the fuck are those? Let me buy one of those, man. I'll be building all my moisture conditioning slots with one of those, dude. Badass.
I mean,
because that's our problem. What saves our ass when we're doing MC is because it's such a temporary trench for us. Like, I mean, literally we're digging it out, and 99% of the time it's halfway full back up by the end of the day. We don't have to really fuck with the slopes, and everybody's sitting in a cab, so you don't have anybody actually on the ground in there, so you can kind of still slope it back. You put a safety berm up and stuff like that. Somebody will go in there, but it's nothing like what y'all are doing. When we were doing pipe, I remember that shit. We'd have to rent trench boxes. We'd have to rent the spreaders, those things that had the little what do they call those?
Little pump jacks for them.
Yeah, the pump jack thing.
Speed shoring.
Yeah, the speed shoring. Those are pretty cool, man. They got them little wood panels, holds it out. And when we did our sewer line, that's what we had to use. It was pretty cool.
I mean,
tells you how much pipe I know about pipe.
I'll speak, like, I prefer running a trench box myself. Like, it just saves on dig time, right? If you're sloping stuff back, like, you're killing time, you're killing backfill, more material, more gravel, so many more things. Trench box, the guys are safe, guaranteed. Like, if I can run a box, I'll run a box. And I think people are always like, well, a box is slower. Well, I think a box is faster. You can backfill faster. You're saving on gravel. Because gravel that's your Christmas bonus. If you're burning gravel up on backfill, there goes your bonus, and there goes everybody else's bonus in the company. So I prefer the trench box myself. I see lots of guys open cut, but I mean, pick your poison.
Yeah, the crew's got to know how to work in a box. That's the problem, right? If you don't have guys that know how to work in a box, you're going to be slow as hell. If you got a good crew that can work in a box, that makes all the difference in the world. And then everyone digging it, pulling it, moving it, that's where it's at. But you got to have the guys that know how to do it to make it work. Otherwise, yeah, you're way slow.
I think.
Yeah, you guys can have that. You guys can have that trench box shit. I've been down in the trench a couple times with the guys when we were doing pipe, and I look up, and all I see is this metal thing, and I'm like, wow. Cheapest bidder built this motherfucker too. I hope this guy that welded it knew what the fuck he was doing. I'm just like, that's a lot of fucking dirt holding back right now. That thing caves in, I'm fucking done, bro. So, I was gonna say the something I saw in here that you wanted to talk about as well was the pros of GPS systems. Do you guys run GPS?
Yeah, we're full GPS. We run Trimble.
Trimble. Okay.
It is the best money anybody can spend. If you're thinking about it, just go buy it. Stop thinking about it.
We're working on getting a robot. We want to get robotic next.
That will be key. Do you use drone yourself then, or?
Not yet. We're getting ready to. That's the goal next. That's the 3-year plan. You always make your plan. So 3-year plan is we're going to switch from Topcon to Trimble, and we're going to go full robotic, so our guys can lay out the jobs themselves and do all that. Okay. And just trying to cut expenses back a little bit, not having to use as many subs. You can do it yourself and control your destiny a little better. Now, the caveat to that is if there's any issues with the grading out there, you can't go back on the surveyor anymore. You got to go back on yourself. So still want to make sure those control points are set correctly. So, yeah.
I think go ahead. I think there's a fine line there. Like, I think doing it yourself, you have that being able to fast forward the job a little bit, but then you have the responsibility of it, doing your own control points. And
exactly. It's kind of a catch-22. It's like, I can be more efficient, but at the same time, if anything's wrong, it's my butt.
Yeah.
So, taking more risk.
Like, I'll give you guys an example. We run full GPS. I got kids that work for me for like 2 months, never have any pipe experience, and they are running the job, laying the pipe with the GPS. If I gave those guys a laser and said, go lay that pipe with that rotary laser, they would look at me like I got 10 fucking heads and be like, what do you mean you want me to shoot that fucking grade? Right?
What's this target thing you want me to put on the pipe, dude? What is that?
Like, and it is a painful process. I got kids that literally a month in and they're running the GPS, a week in, they're running the GPS, and it gives the capability to run the job to a certain level. Maybe not the most productive way, but at least they're putting the pipe in the right spot, on the right grade, the manhole in the right spot. All these things technically should be happening with that GPS, right?
Yeah, I personally am under the impression as long as you are getting the refresher systems done, you're getting your system, calibrated and stuff every year like you're supposed to and all that stuff. And as long as you got good signal, bro, yeah, bring a laser out here anytime you want, man. I'll be just as close, if not closer than you. I mean, especially now the amount of satellites they got, 5-6 years ago, as well as I do, it wasn't as accurate. But I mean, every year the tolerance is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. I mean, it's getting to the point it's almost robotic and it's coming from a satellite instead of line of sight. So, I mean, it's getting really good. The thing that I think is saving the industry the most with efficiency, time, and it's our own undoing, though, is if you get a contract now, I don't know about as much on the pipe side yet, but they're getting to the point they want you to run GPS. I mean, it's, now you get out on the job site, the superintendent's like, I want feathers in the ground. I don't trust that GPS. You use, I want to see the line of sight. I want you to use a laser to put this pad in. Okay, well, guess what we'll do? We'll put it in with GPS, and then when you come out there, we'll put our laser out. Go beep. There you go. It's on great. It's all yours. Yeah. So we do that shit all the time, by the way. Hey, it's sad when you're running the same amount of batteries in your laser that you had in January because you haven't had to turn it on that much. That's when it's coming out like once a day. Just beep. There you go. See ya.
I haven't made the switch yet. I'm gonna bite the bullet here. It's coming.
Bite it.
I know.
And chew it and deal with it for the first 3 months, and you'll thank yourself for the next 10 years that you.
Yeah, I know. They came out and demoed it, and literally what turned me off is they showed up. We demoed the TopCon, and it showed up, and it was running like some Windows 10 tablet that had to reboot like 6 times to make sure it worked. And it took like every time I touch a button, it's like delayed by like 4 seconds. And I'm like, the fucking iPhone works great, right? Like they make an iPad. Why didn't you just strap an iPad to this fucking thing and it worked flawlessly? But instead you went and bought the cheapest freaking stupid tablet from China that doesn't work worth a hell and strapped it to it and then charged $50,000 for it. And that's literally what turned me off of it. I was like, I'm going to huck this thing across the freaking job site the first time it screws up and doesn't work. That's going to be what's going to happen.
So I don't know how Will did it, but he's got ours where they don't do that anymore. They used to be super slow.
I just need to come check.
Will, you got to get with Will because Will is the man, dude. My guy that's in charge of our GPS surveying department. He's fucking awesome. Dude's gangster as hell. He's a one-man show. He goes to the shop, gets them calibrated, picks up stakes, does everything. He disperses them to the foremans. He does the blue tops. I mean, the dude's just a beast, man. And I don't know. He teaches me stuff about that system like every day. I'm like, hey, so what's this for? And he's like, oh, you can use it to do this with it and do that with it. I'm like, no desire to do any of that. Just tell me this shit's on great. Like, how much dirt's in that stockpile? That's all I want to know. Because I got to get a change order for this shit. That's all I want to know.
Pay me.
Yeah, just fuck you, pay me. That's all I care about. Yeah, fuck. Everybody's like, oh, cat this. I don't give a shit if it's a fucking Honda. Just pay the bill, man.
I mean, I think it's underestimated. I think guys in pipe probably don't use it enough. We use it full time. Like the guys are like, oh, you don't get reception in the trench. Like, just put the booster on it. Like they can make it happen. Get a better base station.
Yeah, they're like. Yeah, we got boosters on ours. We just did that. I don't know if you guys heard that episode. Oh, it was the episode you couldn't be here. It was like it's at the old house. Oh, yeah. It was when I had Joey on.
Yeah.
I called him actually, and he put 4 on our thing. It was like $500 for all 4 of them. And dude, they're getting like so much more accuracy now because we were having that problem. Our tolerance was like getting to the point. Some spots, you go out in rural areas, it'd be like 1/10 and a half, 2/10. I'm like, what's the point of having this if we're going to be off that much? If you're within industry standard, yeah, good. But I'd rather my guys and me, we're in the impression of yes, it's GPS, it should be plus or minus 1/10. No, if it's not 200s, bro, I don't want it. I want that accuracy.
That's the whole point of it.
Yeah,
not have to go back.
Yeah.
I mean,
what are you running for equipment?
I run a 380 Volvo, so a 40-ton Volvo. We run a loader, L90, and then we got like skid steer and mini and stuff. So I went and bought the loader the excavator brand new. because that's what makes you money, is digging the hole, is what, makes your ultimate money. So I figured, you get a warranty, you get all the safety net. I tell myself it's a safety net policy that you get with it. So I got that brand new, or we got that brand new, and then we bought the loader because I buy machines that service the other machine, right? So you buy a mini and then you buy a skid steer, you buy a loader, or you buy an excavator, you buy a loader, or if you're doing pipe like us, right? So a dozer didn't make sense for us, and a loader, we use a loader every day. Like that loader, we put, I don't know how many hours on it, but a lot. It runs from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. Like it's the first thing running, the last thing going. So
yeah, I just bit the bullet picking mine up on Tuesday.
Oof.
You got a Komatsu.
Yeah, about a Komatsu loader.
God bless you.
Never owned a Komatsu anything, but
I got a Komatsu blade. I got to tell you, I'm actually very impressed with it. Everybody talks crap on them, and the only complaint I have, and if Komatsu's listening, I got one thing to say: make the fucking thing all-wheel drive. That's all I'm asking. Just make it all-wheel drive. It's 4-wheel drive. It's not 6. Just make it all-wheel drive. And make a damn massless GPS system. If you could do those 2 things, bro, I'll buy 5 of them. But, the only reason I couldn't, we got it was because we couldn't get another Cat 150 because they're a year and a half out right now. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Nuts. I tried to go Volvo. I went down there, put my best effort in, tried to buy a Volvo because Christian told me to buy a Volvo.
Romco didn't help you out?
The sales guy took 3.5 weeks to get me a quote, and then 2 weeks to respond after that. And by that point, I'd already bought a Cat. So,
I wish you would have called me. I know a really awesome dude over there.
Well, it's all good. I'm happy with the Cat. I'm not going to lie.
I won't lie. I'm on the impression of I am buying a 490 Volvo though. I ran one when I was at Bright. We used to have a bunch of them, and that is the Cadillac of excavators, dude. That is the nicest freaking machine I've ever run, dude.
Yeah.
They had LED lights before anybody else had LED lights. They had fucking air conditioned seats before anybody else had air conditioned seats. Dude, they know what they're doing, bro.
Don't get me wrong.
Them Swedish people, man, they make good furniture and they make good excavators. I'll give them that. They pretty on it, man.
I went down there and I sat in one. They had the 235 I was looking at. They only had one here, and it was like a 4-year-old unit with 7,000 hours that probably was a rental to the dumbest retards in the face of the planet. That thing looked like it went through World War III. It was just mangled. Like, I mean, clapped out on another level of clapped out. And then they take me out to look at it. I'm like, holy, like, what happened to this thing? Like, did you guys demolish buildings from the inside with it or what? I got in that thing. It was tight as shit, man.
Yeah.
Not a freaking inch of play in that thing. And I'm like, well, how many times they line bore the pins? No, it's all original. I get looking at it and sure as shit, like, I don't know what they did. They must have greased it at least, but man, that thing was smooth, even having that hard of a life.
There's a demolition company down here, man. That's all they run, dude. I mean, that's all they run. They run strictly Volvo. And, they've been doing it for a long time, and they've been running Volvo since the 90s. I mean, so, all their gear's all their equipment is Volvo. Volvo, if you're listening, 390 be nice.
Yeah.
I got a 350 Deer on trade.
I ran an old Volvo loader, had the old chopsticks, the three little joysticks on it. That was pretty slick. I like that. That was a good setup. Once you get used to that, you're pretty quick in those things.
Oh God, don't ever buy a Komatsu track loader or a Deer track loader. Oh God, don't do it.
I demoed one. I wasn't doing it.
I got a 963, and I'm happy with my 963.
The Cat's a little hard on fuel though, compared to the Volvo.
Cat is hard on air conditioning too. I don't know what it is with Cat and air conditioning, but they're the only freaking ones that ever go out. I don't know what it is. I'll talk crap on Deer all day, but the Deers, they're tanks when it comes to AC systems. I don't know why. Maybe because it's right there on the outside and you can just get to it.
Because they're slow as shit.
Yeah. Well, and then Cat, they decided a few years ago, like a brilliant idea, like let's put the cabin filter inside the tractor. And so if you open the window at all to talk to somebody or anything, and you got the AC running, it's going to make your AC system stop working. Brilliant.
My only complaint about the new Cat that I got, the next gen, It's got a auto reverse fan feature, so it'll reverse the fan every 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Reverse it, blows the rads out as it's going. Every time it does that, the AC shuts down. So like the you're running the hose, and don't get me wrong, you don't notice it because the thing's tinted. I put ceramic tint on it, so you'd be nice and cozy in there. But if you didn't have tint in that, when that thing shut down, because it shuts down for like 30 seconds every 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and you're in there, and all of a sudden you hear it shut down. Then it comes back on as soon as the fan goes back on. I don't know why it does that, but if I didn't have the windows tinted, it would definitely suck. Yeah. Other than that, I'm happy with it. It's a great machine. It's fast as hell. I like it. It's good.
Well, we got about 15 minutes left, and Christian had a couple questions he wants us to ask him real quick. So, questions he'd like to ask us. And Christian, I'm going to read the question, and you tell us who you want to answer these questions. This is kind of how we do it. And we'll both answer if you want us to.
Hot seat this bitch.
On bad months or bad weeks, when things aren't going right, how do you deal with it as a leader moving forward?
You can answer that, so Brandon. You can answer that one.
You want me to answer this
one?
Well, I'm going to pass the floor to Devon after I answer it because he's pretty good about this kind of stuff too. The bad months and the bad weeks. You got to have an outlet. I'll say that. You got to have something to. You can't think about it constantly because it'll just eat you alive, and that's when you get cancer. That's when you get. I'll tell y'all something. Stress will kill you quicker than anything else in this world. It'll eat you up. It'll cause you. It'll screw your immune system up. It'll screw up your social life. It'll screw up your family life. It'll end up causing depression. You know, it's just. As a leader, yes, you have to be strong for the guys at the office. You got to put that face on that, hey, everything's going to be all right, because at the end of the day, those guys are counting on you to provide for their families. You know, yes, they're out there working their asses off, but at the end of the day, you got to make sure that check is going to clear Friday so they can buy the groceries. They can pay the electric bill. They can pay the mortgage. You know, they can get the wife, take the wife out for a nice dinner that weekend, you know. So you got to, as a leader, you have to sit back and realize it's not all about you. It's about your guys. It's about your company. It's about your ego. It's about your name. It's not really your ego. I was joking about that part, but you have to prove to yourself that it's going to be all right. And the way you do that is you find a way, no matter what it takes. You find a way, whether that's selling tools. That's, you know, guns have gone to the pawn shop in the past to make payroll. I won't lie to y'all. You know, it's, hey, we're not going to go on that trip this year that we wanted to go on. It's, hey, you know, you find a quick, you know, cash job you can go knock out on a Saturday, and you don't send the guys to do it. You go do it yourself so you can help cover payroll the next week. It's things like that you got to do as a leader to just make sure that everything's going to be all right. And that's just what you got to do. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it don't. And then the times it don't, that's when you got to sit down as a man. You go sit down with that supplier or whatever the person is you got to pay and say, hey, I can't make it happen this week. This is the reasons why. And if they can't appreciate that, then don't come back when the times are good. That's what I say. So pass it on to you, Dev.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you deal with the good and the bad? Well, I'm pretty emotionless, I guess. I don't know. I try to stay pretty level and normal. I got shit that happens on the daily, the weekly, monthly. You know, there's good days, there's bad days. It's just what it is. Myself personally, I just bottle the shit up, put my head down and keep going. And I'm not sure if that's healthy or what, but it's what I do. You know, when shit gets real retarded, when you see me go in the gym every day, that's when you know shit's not going well. So I'm just going in and throwing weights around and kind of letting things out that way. But that's why I'm so jacked. Shit's always going wrong. No, but in all honesty, I just literally got to a point. I'll fucking tell you guys the story because it's a good one, I guess. I remember first year in business, started up. I was like 6 months in. It was a year. I don't know. Anyways, I had a couple jobs going on, and everything was laid out perfectly for the week to go right. You know, I put out a bunch of money to do all these jobs. Thursday, we were going to wrap up this job. I was going to get paid right away. Friday was payday. I get a call from one of my guys Wednesday night at 7:00. man, we just hit a gas line. Fuck. So now I'm scrambling at 7:00 at night. It was just a secondary line going to a garage from my house. But I'm scrambling at 7:00 at night to get a pipe fitter to come out here and fix this gas line, because I got to get this gas line fixed or I'm not getting paid on Thursday to finish this job. And then I can't make payroll. Short story long, couldn't get the fittings to fix this gas line on a Thursday. Ain't happening. Not done. Not going to be until Friday. And I remember Friday, I think it was Thursday morning, I wake up, or Friday, whatever day it was. Anyways, I wake up knowing that I'm not going to make payroll. Get up, go to work, drive into work, call my old man up. Hey, got to borrow some money. He's like, for what? Well, this screwed up, whatever. I got to make payroll. Like, I'm going to need some money to float payroll. Nope. I fucking told you, you should have never quit your job. You're just going to get fucked over in business. People aren't going to pay you, yada, yada, yada. Goes on this fucking rant, and I'm just not having it. Click, hang up the phone, and I'm fucking pissed off. And I'm driving to the job site, and I'm just, fuck. Racking my head, and driving along, and I'm just ready to friggin', I'm 6-7 months in, and this is the biggest problem. I think payroll was like $4,000 or $5,000.
Oh my God.
Nothing, nothing. But anyways, at the time it was this was a mountain of a
huge
problem.
money. Yeah. Back then. Yeah.
For me at the time, that was the first mountain. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, fuck, I failed. I fucked up. I'm not going to do this. And I'm just tearing myself up. I get off the exit of the highway, driving to the job site. And I'm just like in this massive depression or whatever you want to call it, this failure mode. And all of a sudden it dawns on me, wait a minute. I have a fucking line of credit. Oh, fuck. Call the bank. Hey, can you transfer some money from my line of credit? Oh, yeah, no problem. Fucking pay the thing. And then I'm driving and I'm like, you fucking idiot. I've been stressing about this for 4 days, trying to plan how I'm going to make payroll on Friday. And I was just on another level of stress. Like, I was ready to call it quits, pack it in, go back to running a crane, like done. And I was so blinded by that problem that I thought was a mountain, I didn't even think of the fact that, oh shit, I got a fucking line of credit. I can just cover it and it's all good. And we finish the job Friday and get paid. But to me, I always go back to that because at the time, that felt like it was a problem that I could not fix. Like it was a brick wall, and I was so focused on the problem that I wasn't thinking of anything else. I had a simple solution right here. It wasn't even, but I was so blinded by the problem that I was just like not even thinking of that at all. And after, I'm like, you fucking idiot. Like, why didn't you think of that like 3 days ago? I spent 3 days stressing, worrying, going nuts over this. And it was just a simple solution. And I remember that. And I always remember that. And that dumb lesson that I learned from that was, I'm just going to focus on the problem, whatever it is, whether it's finishing the job or making payroll or getting this paid or whatever. If I focus on that problem, I'm not looking for a solution. So when problems happen nowadays, I don't focus on the problem. And as dumb as that sounds, I don't just I forget about the problem. I don't forget about it, but I push it aside. Get the problem the fuck out of your face, because if you're staring at the problem, that's all you're going to think about, and start looking for solutions. Literally, when I get a problem or if something screws up, whether it's money or equipment or whatever, the first thing I do is I stop, throw the problem off the side, forget about the problem, and just start thinking, how can I fix this? What's the solution? You got to start thinking of for the solutions, because if you focus on the problem, that's all you're going to get is more problems. You always have to stop thinking about the problems and focus on solutions. And that's the biggest thing. As a business owner, your job is to solve problems. Look at the problem, see what the problem is, and then just go right to solutions. And spitball, call people, whatever you got to do. But there's always a solution to the problem. And it doesn't matter how big that problem is, you're always going to be able to find a solution if you're willing to go out and look for it. And you might have to call 150 fucking people, but you're going to find a solution. And I know that you deal with this, Christian, and you do as well, for sure. How many times do you look at one of your employees and say, hey, we need this part. Call over here to get it. They pick up the phone, they call one place, and they say, yeah, we can't get it till Thursday. Well, my piece of equipment's going to be down for 4 days. And they come back, yeah, they don't have the part. It won't be until Thursday. Well, did you call anywhere else? Well, no, they don't have it. You or me or you call a place and they say, we can't get that till Thursday. And you instantly hang up the phone. You call 75 other fucking places until you find somebody willing to drive it to the airport, put it on a plane and fly it to you that day. Because that's what our minds are like. Someone says no, you keep calling until someone says yes. You don't just stop at that. Oh, no. That's what business ownership is. You're owning a business. You just don't take no for an answer. And it's not that you're a dick. You're not going to take no for an answer. You are going to beat that horse until it's absolutely dead. And you are 1000% sure that no is the only answer you can get. That's how I deal with it. I just don't take no for an answer.
Fucking bravo, bro. That was fucking gangster, that story.
Yeah. It's long-winded, but you get the point.
No, I know exactly what you meant by that.
That's exactly what it is.
I know exactly what you meant by that. And I got a caveat to add to that one. The one that got me the heart, I never really gave an example. The funniest one that ever happened to me was kind of similar story. We were working for a client that paid by ACH, and I'd forgotten that, right? So a check bounced from a GC. Because their account got hacked or something. I don't know what happened. So they paid me Wednesday, and I was supposed to make payroll Friday. And this was 2 or 3 years ago. And payroll was like $20,000. And I'm freaking out, man. I'm thinking about, can I donate blood? Is there somewhere I can go? Do they have payday loans? I already pawned some guns before to make payroll. I'm like, man, I got like 2 left. That ain't gonna be enough to get 20 grand out of. They're not worth that much. I'm thinking, I'm like, what else could I do? So I'm like, well, so I start plotting ideas in my brain, and all of a sudden my phone rings, and it's my mom, who's my CFO. And she goes, just wanted to let you know a wire just came in. I'm like, what? Yeah. The payment for this job. And I'm like, huh? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh, badass. She's like, yeah, I already got everybody's deposits set up for tomorrow. I'm like, okay. So like the rest of that day, anything that went wrong, I was like, this is nothing. Like, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but when you paid all the bills for the week and you made payroll, like, and you get to make it by like Wednesday, it's like the most stress relieving rest of the week, dude. Like, I try to explain that to people, and they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, bro, you could call me and say my tractor burned to the ground, and I'll be like, that's fine, we'll get another one.
We'll deal with that on Thursday of next week.
Yeah, and everybody's like, what do you mean? I'm like, bro, as long as your guys are paid and you paid all the bills, ain't nobody coming to repo your shit, and your guys are fucking got their jobs, and your fuel bill got paid. You feel like, I can't explain it. It's like you feel like you can climb Mount Everest. It's crazy. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, but it's just that, oh my God, I fucking did it. Yes. Oh, hey, Brandon, we didn't get that fucking change. I don't even give a fuck. Yeah, that's fine. We got. Oh, man.
All right, what's the next one?
He said, what year was the hardest for you? So believe it or not, I had a weird go of it. My first year was an ass kicker, like it should have been. I think that's everybody. My second year was actually really good, which normally that's not the case. Normally you're still kind of learning stuff. My third year was when I really got my ass handed to me. That was the worst year ever. And that was when I started learning more about contracts, because we went from doing more of the working for these smaller developers, general contractors that didn't have the 55-page contracts, to working for the guys that have 55-page contracts. And that's when I started learning the game, really learning the game by, oh, well, this is in your scope. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is. This is in your scope. And this is when you learn that they actually are repetitive. You might catch it one part of the contract, but if you go down 4 more pages, it's in another part of the contract. So it alleviates that part if you catch that they got it somewhere else on there. So a lot of people don't know that there's a lot of contracts now that have the scope of work in there twice. You might catch it on the first page, but then the second page they go, well, this supersedes that. So if you don't catch it on this, it's all a game. But that's what happened, man. I got my behind handed to me in 2021. I had 3 GCs not pay me. 2 went out of business. The owner for the third one skipped and ran to like Costa Rica, and the feds are looking for him. I'm not making that one up either. So yeah, it was a great year, and I'm finally getting out of it now. And that's 2 years later. And I met Steph in 21. She can tell you I was on the verge of just
dark times.
I've never been. Bro, I've never been in such a place in my life, dude. I couldn't get off the couch on a weekend. I'd be sitting on the couch on Saturday. I'm just like, I got no ambition to do anything right now. And Sunday night, I'd just be so scared, man. I don't want to go to work Monday. I don't want to deal with this. I didn't know what to do, man. And it was a blessing in disguise. I got all the guys that I have working for me now came on in 21. My core team of guys that I have now came on, and we have completely turned it around. And it was an absolute, I'm not afraid to say, it was an absolute fucking bitch, but we got through it. And we had grit, and that's what you got to have in this industry. You got to be tough, man. You got to be a tough son of a bitch to deal with this shit. So I'll shut up now. It's your turn.
I don't know. For me, it was my first year. That was honestly the hardest for me. And that was just because I didn't know anything. I did the one thing that no one should ever do is I started a company with zero experience doing what I'm doing, like nothing. And I taught, everything was self-taught, learned all the dumb, hard lessons, screwed up all the shit, broke all the stuff, like you name it, I've done it. And it was just a bag drive the whole first year because I just kept getting kicked in the nuts over and over and over again because of my own unknowing, I guess. So it was, the whole first year was just learning everything the hard way from scratch. And then I got smart and stopped not thinking I knew everything, but swallowed my pride and started asking questions, calling guys, reaching out to people that were in business, talking to people and getting advice and learning how not to screw things up. And that's kind of what turned it around. But that was my biggest kick in the dick, I guess, my whole first year, just because of that. What about you? What was your life-changing moment?
My life-changing moment, my first year, I found my first year easy personally. Like, I think you're in the honeymoon phase, I call it, of business. You're like, you're making a little bit, or you think you're making a little bit more money than you did working for somebody, right? And you're like, you think that you have this, you're invincible, right? Or whatever you think. I don't know what I thought, but I thought something. I was like, I don't know why everybody doesn't own a business, right? Like this is great, right? Like I do the job, we get paid. Like, it's me and my buddy. We're working, we're partners, we're making money. Like it's, you think you're on top of the world, and then you don't get paid, or you don't get paid on time, or you got your people calling you saying, you better pay me or you're not going to get any more gravel or trucks or whatever the case may be, right? And you're like, I need to keep this job moving forward. And I think that's what humbles you. You realize that you probably shouldn't work for everybody that says they got work for you. You should really just, and that's what we tried to hone in, is like, work for just a few good people. You're better off to work for a few good people that that are going to pay their bills, that and grow with them. If they're a smaller GC, grow with them, or if they're a smaller developer or whatever, like help them grow instead of trying to go to the, the heavy hitter in the area. And they're like, if I put this guy out of business, that's one less guy I got to compete with. Right. And that's not always the case. There's lots of great big companies out there that will help younger guys or younger companies try to grow. But I think learning the lessons the hard way, like we talked about, losing money and stuff like that didn't happen for me till like the second year, third year, where I was like, shit, this is why people fucking quit. This is why, like, this is, I remember laying there in bed at night being like, this ain't worth it. Like, I can go sit in a company truck, make 120 grand a year and turn my brain off at 5 o'clock, like this.
Yep.
So I think that was my darkest moments of mine were probably 2 years. Like, the whole time is dark, really. You have your good days and then you just go back to the roller coaster of shit, right? Like, I had it's
a merry-go.
Pardon?
I try to tell everybody it's like you go, hey, you want to visualize owning a business? They go, yeah. I'm like, imagine a merry-go-round. They're like, oh yeah. I'm like, I'm not done yet. And it's on fire. And there's like 3 guys standing there with fire extinguishers, and they're just laughing at you. And they're like, you stupid son of a bitch. We tried to tell you.
While the clown running the ride's beating you with the bat every time you go around.
Yeah, like that fucking meme that they got with the kids on the ground, and there's that big dude in the blow up suit, and he's got a bat just beating the shit out of him. Oh, it's so fucking true.
I think people just don't know what it takes. I don't think you really know till you do it, till you honestly do it, right?
I mean, and that's the thing that guys don't get. You're not going to get rich overnight doing this job, man. This is a long game business. You got to build equity as you go. You know, if you have a really good year and you can pull a little bit of money for yourself, absolutely fucking do it, man. You know, take care of yourself. You deserve that. You bust your fucking ass. But, you know, you profit $100,000. You got $100,000 sitting in the checking account at Christmas time. You throw your guys some money. Put the money back in the damn company. Go buy that service truck you need. Go buy another fucking excavator you need. Go buy some shit you need. Don't just be like, oh, did you see this fucking cool ass fucking bass boat I just bought? Why'd you buy a fucking bass boat? You don't have time to go fishing, dude. Like, I mean, and then 6 months later, your guy's like, man, I had to sell the bass boat. It's like, well, no shit, you had to sell the fucking bass boat. I mean, good times.
It's true.
It's true.
Christian, do you got anything else you'd like to talk about, buddy?
I think I'm good.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think all three of us look pretty fucking smoked. I think we all got up pretty early this morning because I know I did. I know you probably did too. Knowing this dude, he probably fell asleep at his desk.
Probably.
Yeah, I did, except the wife's down here now, so I moved an office into the house. So when I fall asleep at my chair, it's 20 steps to bed. So when I wake up, actually, I drove back to the house the other night. Where was it coming from? From Keller. Pulled in the driveway, backed in the driveway, and I was reading an email. And I woke up 45 minutes later, sitting in my driveway in the truck still. Walked in the house. So yeah, time to go to bed.
All right, man. Well, I'll get the PSAs out of the way and we'll get out of here. If everybody could give us their 5 stars on Spotify and Apple. Check us out on the YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you could check it out on our Patreon. We have some cool shit on there. Also, check out our merch shop. We have merch now. As you can see, Christian's wearing one of our hats. Also, if you want one of those hats, they're not on the website. Shoot us a PM on Instagram and send us your information, and we will be more than happy to send you one. It's $25 plus shipping. So just send that to us. Also, we are getting ready for the on-grade roundtable. I don't know when we're doing that yet, but now that we have the capability we just set up here, we can definitely do it now, can't we, buddy?
Yeah.
We figured out how to do this teleconference setup that we just got done, and I won't lie to y'all. I've been stressing about this one all week. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to talk to him and not make it look weird and all that? And did a lot of research, so it was a little stressful.
Not bad for a couple dirt guys.
No, it wasn't too bad.
Computers.
So I want to thank my producer who's sitting over there busting her ass for us tonight, my lovely lady Stephanie, getting it done. Thank you, baby. All right, guys. Well,
1 second there, Christian. What's your Instagram? Guys want to jump on there? Christian's always posting shit.
Yeah,
too.
I'm not
Does a
like
lot of
you. I
paperwork.
can't talk in
Cool
front of the
shit.
camera. I'm a little camera shy, eh? So Instagram is CMB.excavation. Yeah, we post some stuff on there. Try to as much as possible. I just want to thank you guys for having me on the show and everybody involved. It's awesome to see some guys trying to help some knowledge, and it's nice to hear that other guys are suffering the same problems that we're all suffering. So thank you, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're all rowing in the same
brother,
boat full of
amen.
holes together.
there's a lot. There's 2 guys. There's guys that don't know what it's really happening to them yet, or there's guys that are going through it. And I don't care who you are. It's kind of like riding a motorcycle. There's guys that have been down. There's guys that are going to go down. It doesn't matter how long you ride. You mean any guy that truly rides will tell you that. It's the same damn thing in this business, man. You're gonna have somebody not pay you, and you just gotta have that rainy day fund set aside. You gotta be smart with your money, and you can't go blowing all your damn money on stupid shit. You gotta try to have a nest egg saved. But I'll tell you right now, it's hard to pay the bills when they owe you $700K and you got $300K in trucking, and the rest of your billings for the month might be $200-300K, and it's like, well, you should pay that bill. Well, I can do that, and then I won't have another job to give you next month because I will be out of business.
It's great
Good times, right, guys? Good times.
It's life. You get through it. Keep going. Don't stop. Just keep moving forward. One foot in front of the other. It's all it is.
Keep it going, guys. So definitely, Christian. I'll get the links for all your stuff, bud. Just email them to me so I can get it put in the description for you. Also, guys, the fires in Hawaii are over now. However, we are still requesting that people donate down there to the guys in Hawaii. What's the name of that excavation?
Truth X.
You're putting me on the spot.
Truth.
Yeah.
No.
Truth X. Truth
Yeah.
Excavation. They're getting a ton of support from everybody around the country. It's awesome to see us as a family coming together and helping a brother in need. So if you guys could, I'll have the link for his GoFundMe in the bottom. Also, if you guys want to be on the show, shoot us a message on ongrade88@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on the podcast page, Iron Eagles page, or Devon's page at Ruben Group. Just let us know if you guys want to come on the show. I'm more than happy to have you. We would like to have people local in our area, but we now have this tele system set up. More than happy to have you on the show. So, guys, I got anything else? You got anything else?
That's it, man. Like, share, subscribe, shout us out, tell a friend, get us out there, boys.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time. Stay classy.